Hey guys, so as you notice, I was cutting up some lumber at the beginning there, and I cut two things. I cut a piece of MDF, which is manufactured board, and this is a piece of 1/4 inch. It's very thin, and I cut some pine board, and this is a 1x12, which is actually 11 and an eighth by 3/4 of an inch. They cut it wet, and that's what the dried dimensions are. So when they cut it wet, this is what they take the measurement from, which is the 1x12. This is a non-woodworkers video, in case you haven't figured that out. Today I want to talk about a waste board. You quite often see when I'm doing CNC work that there's a board underneath my project that's under the piece that I'm cutting, and it's all clamped down together. And all the pressure is on the top board. There's usually no pressure, there's nothing clamping this bottom thinner piece in. Sometimes I have double-sided tape on the back, but not always. This piece here is meant to be destroyed. It's meant for me to, when I'm doing cutouts or cutting through a project, like you're going to see here in a couple of days, are going to be a bunch of cutouts, some projects for kids, some Christmas toys are coming out, and a lot of that stuff is cut out of a piece of pine. So when I cut through, I want to make sure that I'm going all the way through the piece of pine. I may only be going through a 1/2 millimeter, 1/4 millimeter, maybe a full millimeter, depending on my piece of wood that I'm working with. And I don't want to destroy the bed on my CNC machine. The bed of my CNC machine, the screws are under the rails for it, and you don't want to destroy that. So you always, well, a lot of us put another piece on top that will be destroyed or be cut up when we do cut through projects. Now, when you see me doing 3D projects where I'm not cutting through the board completely, you'll notice that I don't have a backer board because I'm not going to cut through it, so it doesn't matter to me. So I just wanted to show you guys another part of the process here, which is having a backer board. I use MDF. I get a lot of it really cheap, but you could use any thin material. I use Luan once in a while when I have scrap pieces of it laying around. I always try to use one solid piece because I'm not clamping or taping it down all the time. I don't want it when it's cutting out underneath of it to push the piece out of alignment. So one solid piece on the bottom is my personal preference, and you'll get a different opinion from every person who does CNC work. This is just how I like to do it and my preference when I'm working on stuff. So I just wanted to share with you guys another part of the process. So kind of a CNC 101 thing. Something I hadn't really thought about before I got into CNC work less than a year ago was having some scrap material to put on the back of projects so that I didn't destroy the board or the original bed of my CNC machine. Would it be the end of the world? No. Could I make a new one? Yes, I can make a new bed for the CNC machine. Do I want to take that kind of time out as often as I do cut-throughs and as much as I use my CNC? Not really. I probably put my CNC machine through a lot more than some people do. And I'm sure there's people who do a lot more with their CNC machine. This is a home machine. It was never made for commercial use. But I give my CNC machine a pretty good beating on a regular basis. Several days a week, probably 3 or 4 days a week, it's running 10 to 15 hours a day. To me, a CNC machine is a tool in my shop, and I use it as a tool and I use it as an employee. My CNC machine, in my opinion, is an employee in my shop that can help me and work with me that is cheaper than having a real employee and less hassle than a real employee. quite honestly. As a small business owner, I can't make everything myself, and I know I don't have the time to make enough to run a business. It's really hard for one person to produce enough product and get it out at a reasonable enough cost to make it inexpensive. So I use my CNC machine to help cut out stuff, cut out blanks, cut out basic projects for me that I can use to then finish by hand and have the machine keep working. So I really do treat my CNC like a employee in my shop. I give it basic projects and basic work to do, and then I take it to the next step and the next level of projects. Here's a couple of examples of wasteboards, so you can see how completely ruined the bed of my CNC machine would be if I wasn't using a wasteboard.